was very clearly a man's world, and women did not do anything significant for the most part back then. They offered some chance for women to work abroad, well, a couple of us only per year. So I was very lucky to be chosen to work at their London branch for 2 years. And there was really no discrimination. And for the first time, I saw how women perform the same duties as men. And I woke up finally. I wanted to pursue my own career. I wanted to become an equity analyst and a fund manager. So, in addition to working full time at the bank in London, I started studying for my CFA exam, both the Japanese and the international version. And I also attended the evening courses at the university. So after I returned to Japan, I decided to move to a foreign firm where options to women were more equal versus the Japanese banks. And I believe I made the right choice back then. I'm now a Japanese equity fund manager at BlackRock. And previous to this, I worked over 15 years, also in the investment and research area at Fidelity Japan. And luckily, though the industry I work in still has much fewer professional women than men, foreign asset management firms like Fidelity and BlackRock have no discrimination based on gender. The firm is very supportive of women, and I have been very lucky to have good colleagues who understand that sometimes working mothers need extra help. And most importantly, I have a very supportive husband and parents who helped me out in countless ways as we raised their daughter together. Also, I did resort to outside professional help in the form of babysitting and house cleaning, for example. I think it's really important to acknowledge that your job as a mother or wife or any other role is indeed a full-time job. In addition to your outside job, maybe at a company or at your own company. And it's really not possible to do 2 or 3 or 4 jobs at once. And you must get help. You must have contingency plans for emergencies because things do happen. I'll stop here, but I really hope to discuss other helpful tips later on if you're interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Rie-san. That indeed was a wonderful journey. Thank you so much for sharing with us. May I please request Lavanya to share with us your professional journey, how it has been so far? Over to you, Lavanya.
Thank you. Glad to be part of this group discussing one of my favorite topics, I would say, women leadership. And it necessarily doesn't mean issues, it's got opportunities. So I would like to focus a lot more on that. A brief glimpse into my career. I did not begin in my corporate career at the early age. I come from a creative background with a PhD in films and technologies. I used to work more on the creative side of it. Writing was my passion. And I was teaching at the university as associate professor before I took a jump into the corporate career, late 90s. And when I started moving across industries, but also moving across departments. So I was not just in communications, but I did marketing, sales, P&L, business management. So depending on what was knocking as an opportunity, I took the career as it came in. I've been with companies like Lexmark, Patni Computers in India, worked with Reliance Industries, Then I moved to an American company called Eaton Technologies before joining Nissan, which is 8 years back. And within these companies, I've worked across the world. It gave me an opportunity to really talk to many nationalities, many cultures, many languages, working with different people. So when I talk about diversity, for me, it's not just about gender, it's about the cultural language, as well as psychographic diversity that we could bring to the table. Then in Nissan, I've been in India at the beginning, then moved after 4 years to Bangkok to head communications for Asia Pacific, before coming to global to lead the role of communications here. And it's been close to a year since I came to Japan. Most of it has been consumed by COVID, so it's been more online than physical, but it's been a wonderful experience. Yes, I think we'll be discussing a lot more in terms of how our journey has been as women. But just a few words, we do come across barriers, but we also have biases. But I was explaining to this group the other day, it's also how we treat ourselves that makes the difference for women. So I think happy to be able to discuss this. I'm not going to speak as an expert in this. I think it's more about sharing what I went through and listening to others to really understand where we are and how we can go together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lavanya, for sharing your views and your journey with us. So our third speaker, Miho-san, can I please request you to go as a next and share your professional journey with all of us?
Yes.
Over to you, Miho-san.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. And I am so grateful to join this webinar with such a top professionals in Japan. And my journey started in a startup. So I have startup background. So I was working for 2 startups before coming to Tokyo. And one of the reasons that I came to Tokyo was one of the startups that I worked for was growing so fast. So it was in Osaka, but the CEO was like, let's go to Tokyo to find more market. So I decided to come with him. However, the startup went to almost bankrupt right after I came to Tokyo. So it was manufacturing company. So all the products were recalled. And I think CEO fired almost 70% of the colleagues. So I lost everyone. Then also it was very hard because I was working as a PR marketer at the company, but there was no PR thing to do at the time. So I decided to find different career in Tokyo. And then I found a job, and that was about the government project to support entrepreneurs. And I was working in a corporate to do that project with Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and I was supporting entrepreneurs. And and I was working for that project for the previous few years, but I found there are still many entrepreneurs who couldn't find where to get help, although the government project was supposed to help all the procedures for startups. So I thought I can do something else, maybe what if I can work along with them by doing the same procedures with them. So I decided to launch my own business called Startup Japan. And now I am internally helping startups and understanding more what's actually going on within startups owned by international entrepreneurs. And I help visa incorporation process and also create legal documents for these business owners. And yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much.